if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath.
Now we know that the vaccines work well enough that the virus stops with every vaccinated person.
Very fine people on both sides. You mean the laptop is now another Russia hoax?
We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by go. You know the thing.
It's a lie on a news network, and it's a lie that's a lie that they're conscious of.
Evening viewers, and welcome to tonight's episode of Grumpy Old Men. I'm Pinky, and as usual we have Grumpy.
Yes, we're both here once again.
It is.
And as you can see, I'm back in the control chair again because sadly our controller at the moment, he got pissed over the weekend and he's still in lockup. We can't get him out there. So he's got a few things on this time. We've got some interesting subjects for today.
We have indeed. Digital ID is one of the things we want to touch on today, certainly.
Which has really hit the headlines here in Australia at the moment.
Yep.
It's popping up everywhere. Censorship seems to be the topic at the moment.
Yeah. Well, look, we've mentioned a couple of times through the different episodes, we've mentioned digital ID and censorship a bit. We've even done 2 episodes on censorship.
Yeah, correct.
So it's something that we're keeping a close eye on, like most people. We thought we'd do a bit more of an episode specifically on digital ID today and see where we're at with all of that. So,
Well, the good news is the government's getting a bit of blowback. People aren't sitting around and accepting it. It's kind of not flying under the radar too much, though MSM hasn't really picked up a few of the stories that are happening. I became aware of it a little while ago when Jordan Peterson actually brought it up in an interview, and it was a really disturbing interview. I mean, because we're in that space, we hear about it, but then when you start seeing people, giving specifics and talking about it, it kind of starts to sink in. Yeah, and you go, "Oh wow, is it that serious?"
Yeah, I don't think you don't realise the potential shortcomings of something like this until someone points out other environments where it's already happening, and then you go, oh, wow, I didn't realise that's what it was. We just think it's a way of creating a national database of, potentially harmless information about you that the government might need to know, like, your tax file number and, linking your tax file number to your Medicare card to your driver's licence and going, well, that makes things a bit easier. But we're not seeing the sinister side to any of that because we haven't been exposed to it.
Yeah.
But other countries certainly have. Yeah.
And one of the arguments you get is that, oh, look, you have a mobile phone and you're using social media. They already know everything about you. That's not true. There's a lot of areas that they haven't quite linked together. They eventually will. There's a great little interview that Jordan Peterson did a little short while ago, September last year actually. So this is the first time that I became aware of it in the sense that it's actually come up out of the, how could you put it, out of the dark corners of the room, and so let's play this little bit from Jordan Peterson.
Example, God, this is going to happen here, I think, too. Although maybe people will fight it. If a traffic camera catches you jaywalking in China, digital ID system has you. It has your blood now. It has your genetic code. It has your photograph. It can identify how you walk. So even if you can't see a face, you can be picked up by gait. It will convict you of jaywalking and take money out of your bank account with no intermediating judiciary at all, and show a picture of you to the people in the neighborhood so they know that you have jaywalked, and reduce your social credit score. And if your social credit score falls below a certain level, then you can't buy drinks from a vending machine. You can't play video games. You can't go on a train. You can't get out of your 15-minute city. All that's already in place in China. Example. God.
That's just crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. Look, we've been talking about these things quite a while, and the people around me will know I've mentioned a lot of this stuff down the 15-minute cities, and the jaywalking thing is a common thing. In fact, there was a video, it's probably got to be a couple of years ago now, where they were talking about this exact scenario where in China someone was jaywalking and all of a sudden a photo of them appeared on a screen on a bus stop, whatever his name was, saying, oh, this person is a jaywalker, and it was really like demeaning and offensive to this person. You're a jaywalker, and it was on a bus stop right there in front of him. You know, these are the sort of things they're already setting up in place. And this sounds like stuff from Dark Mirror.
Yeah,
But,
correct.
Or is it Black Mirror, Dark Mirror?
Black Mirror, yeah.
It sounds like stuff from an episode of Black Mirror, but it's really happening. And that's what makes this scary. I don't think people see the bigger picture here and how nefarious it really is.
The Australian government's actually trying to pass this digital ID.
Yeah,
I think it's already gone through the upper house or something, and it's due for another debate next coming month or so, maybe 2 months. So they're trying to push it, and luckily there are a couple of Liberal senators that are saying, "Hold on, we seriously need to have a good talk about this before we try and push it through." But they talk about being voluntary, and it always starts off being voluntary. Off screen, I mentioned that we had the yes vote here about having more Aboriginal voices in Parliament. And Australia overwhelmingly voted no, and yet they're still trying to pass it.
Yeah. We see this in a lot of things.
Yeah.
It's voluntary. It's in your best interest. It's a safety thing.
Yeah,
we see all the different angles that they try to push. There's a couple of things that come from these things quite typically. One is the laundry list of things that they try to impose, and we push back on that. When really all the things that are on that list, none of them should be happening. And they'll say, we'll do this. And then we compromise by saying, don't do that and that, but we'll let you do the rest, when none of it should have happened in the first place. And, we see that with a lot of different things that they try to push, where they try to push harder than they even really want to, knowing that there'll be pushback. And then there becomes a compromise.
They'll basically, like you're saying, they'll double what they want to do, then actually get half of what they do want. Yeah. So it's sad to the point that we're not getting enough coverage, though we do need it. And one of the biggest surprises just recently on the ABC, the Q&A show, they had the wife of what's his name, Stan Grant. Who used to be a host of the Q&A. I'm not a big fan of Stan, but his wife seemed to have some type of logic in what she had to say, and she was right against it. And she basically said to government, "You need to bugger off and leave us alone." Just to sum up, I think it was like at least a 5-minute speech that she gave. She got a standing ovation from the crowd, and this is coming from the ABC, who are so leftist, and for her to say, "Look, you can't stop treading on us and start censoring social media." And that's not the e-safety's job,
Yeah.
I believe we got to have e-safety to a point, but not to give them that much control. If there's, like for instance, threatening posts or that type of thing.
Well, that's why it was set up in the first place.
Yeah, correct.
That was its purpose. It's definitely an overreach now, what it's become, because now it's censoring opinions, and it was never designed to censor opinions. No. It was set up purely for, threats and all that sort of thing that happens on the internet on a regular basis. And granted, we want that to stop, but the lines blur, and this is where it becomes problematic. Like, what's classed as a threat, and what's classed as an opinion? If I said my opinion is I think you should die, is that a threat?
Yeah.
Or is that an opinion?
There was an interview that Jordan Peterson did years ago, and he was talking about the line that they keep on pushing. At first, it's at small increments, and they constantly push that line, push and push it. Before you know it, you have no self-autonomy at all. Yeah. Because they've pushed it so far back. And, it's so much small increments that you don't notice. And then, 2 years later, you turn around and go, how the hell did I get here? Which is what's been happening over the last few years. Yeah. Luckily for social media, we've got like a platform to hit back at it. Again, the problem with social media is everybody's on it, and you also get the arseholes on there as well. And that's where it's a really fine line. How far do you censor it? Yeah. And you and I are both for free speech, as long as it's not violent. You're trying to incite violence or anything like that. That's a different thing altogether. But if I say, look, hey, I don't like the shirt you're wearing, as an example, that's not hate speech. I just don't like your shirt, you know, and that type of thing. That's all it is. But the government shouldn't turn around and say, oh, shit, no, you're not supposed to comment on the shirt. Yeah. That's none of your business. No, it's none of your business. Get out of my face. So with MSM, mainstream media, the problem we have with them is they're very selective in what they want to show. And there's been a bit of, like I said, a bit of pushback with the amount of people that are now protesting, and MSM aren't even broadcasting any of that.
Yeah, it's keeping very quiet.
Yeah, it's on social media. So luckily, because I am on social media, we can play some of the footage that we've seen. And it's happened pretty much all across the country. Adelaide, I don't think they had any protest, and depending on various areas. And I'll tell you now, if MSM picks it up, they'll pick the quietest protest out of all of them.
Oh, yeah, where 7 people turned up.
Yeah, exactly. And they'll say, okay, 7 people turned up. This is, people don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so
exactly.
Let's have a bit of a look what's been happening in, I can't remember where this is. CBC, Sydney or Melbourne? No, it doesn't matter, because there was quite a lot of people there. And you can see by the size of the crowd, they're not exactly, just a bunch of people.
Yeah.
And we've got another one here, and this is Melbourne.
That's Melbourne, yeah.
There's quite a few hundred there.
And it makes sense that it does, because actually it was an incredibly wealthy city at the same time that Melbourne became incredibly wealthy thanks to the gold rush. They had a rubber boom.
Nice day. Give another 10 minutes, it won't be.
And at that time, around about the turn of last century.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's sad that they're kind of backing up the government to censor them, because India's going to bite them on the arse as well.
But I've been asking people in the last couple of days if they knew anything about it, and not a single person I asked even knew that happened. Not a single person I've asked even knew that happened on the weekend.
Yeah. But that's the type of thing it's up to us,
Yeah, absolutely. But
independent channels.
Yeah, but there wasn't a lot of I didn't know it was happening until it was happening myself. So otherwise I would have gone down there. But most people didn't know it happened. It's another one of those things. And unless people like us point this out, like I've had people saying, "Oh, what can we do about it?" Well, protests actually do something if there's enough people.
Yeah, true. But how many? The fact that you're saying that people don't know about it, so that they obviously can't go out and support it as well. But how many people do you think are just oblivious to it and don't care?
Oh, there's probably a lot.
Yeah. Look, they're just kind of. They're probably the people that are quite happy with that line being moved.
Yeah.
They've probably gone, oh yeah, that's just that. Don't
I'm
worry
surprised
about it.
Singapore doesn't get a bit of attention, because Singapore, depending on your perspective, is worse or better than China. Like you can go to Singapore. There's a lot of people that work for the government. They're cleaning, and there's never any rubbish on the floor. The place is immaculate. Toilets are immaculate. You go in the toilet, when you leave, someone goes in behind you and cleans the toilet. There's so many people that work for the government, in that capacity. That's why the whole place is always spotless. But they also have some pretty draconian laws. Like if you're at a pub and you're drinking, you're not allowed to drink in a public space. So you can't drink on a footpath or walking down the road. But you might be at a pub and there'll be a front lawn, and you're standing on the front lawn having a beer, and then you're having a conversation, then you step back a little bit. Next thing you know, you're standing on the footpath. Within minutes, the police are there arresting you.
Oh, jeez.
And it's jail. It's not a fine. It's jail. And you're like, that's so draconian, And so it's not just China. There are other countries that have these really... And there's not a single space left where you're not on CCTV.
Yeah.
And someone's actually watching you all the time. And that it's not just there recording for later in case something goes wrong. There was the running joke of, the police force in Singapore, they're always looking to recruit people, but nobody wants to join because it's boring.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing to do. So nobody wants to join the police force when there's nothing to do. So that's because they're sitting there watching everything as in real time, and you put a foot out of line and they're there. Next thing is squad cars turning up, and you get locked up for these things, little things. 3 months in jail. It's a very draconian environment.
Because everything's so electronic now. For instance, your Teslas that are totally can be updated from head office in the USA, even though you're in Australia. They can then also control your car.
Yeah.
Which means when that gets linked up with the government, all of a sudden they're going to say, okay, you're using this amount of electricity. You've got maybe 1 day's worth of use, and then after that you have to have a rest for another 2 days. Your quota of electricity has been used up.
Yeah.
Then they can say also how far you're allowed to travel. This is what Jordan's talking about, the 15-minute cities.
Yeah.
You can't go past your 20 Ks or whatever it is.
Well, there was a guy in the UK who just had his... there was a video on him on YouTube. I'm trying to remember the name of the YouTube channel. Anyway, he took his Tesla in to get serviced, and they wanted to do an update on his software while he was there. So he said, "Yeah, I don't care. Knock yourself out." He had to wait. He didn't have enough time to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
But he just sat around and waited. And he was a bit of a nerd, so he decided, well, while I'm sitting here, I'll read the terms and conditions. Who does that?
Bad news.
Nobody
that
does that, right?
Yeah.
But he was so bored and he's a bit of a nerd, so he said,
Yeah.
I'll read the terms and conditions. Anyway, page 300 and something, so he's read the whole damn thing. And it says that his computer is now being upgraded with geofencing
Yeah.
and geo-timing and all this sort of stuff. And he's, what the hell is that? So he went inside and he asked him in the service desk, "What's this thing you're loading into my computer?" And they said, "We've got no idea. We've never even heard of it." So they didn't even know about it. So then he does a bit of homework, and it's the function where the government can turn his car off if he goes outside his 15-minute
Yeah,
Now,
correct.
it's not being enforced yet, but they're already loading it onto people's cars. So any car from about, I think it's 2016 onwards, can have that loaded. So anybody out there with a fairly new vehicle, when you go into getting it serviced and they say, "Oh, do you want a software update?" Say no. If it's not already on there, you don't want it.
God, I'm about to get my maps done on my Jeep Cherokee, the GPS maps. I don't think I'll get them upgraded now.
No, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's the level of control that they want to have, you know.
But it's sinister to the fact, okay, they're not using it, but it's there.
The fact that it's there. This is
Yeah.
like, how many things have we seen like that in the past where they go, "Oh, it's for this one really good, wholesome purpose," and then it gets used for all sorts of things, you know. So it's just another one of those. But we're seeing so much more of this creeping in all the time. You look at digital driver's licences. We're going down that path at the moment in Victoria. I'm sure it's happening around the country, but they did a test run in Ballarat for a few months. I think it was 1,500 people or 15,000. I think it's 1,500
Isn't that
people.
like the whole population
Yeah,
there?
that's why I think it might have been 1,500. They had the digital driver's license to start with. Now, this is where the testing of these things, to me, is a real grey area. So how often do you have to pull out your driver's license for a police officer? How often would you say? Once or twice in your life? You know?
Oh, when I was young all the time.
Well, daily when we were younger.
Now I've become a responsible adult.
Yeah.
Rarely. I can't
Right.
remember last time I showed
Okay,
it.
so if I said to you, "Here's a digital version, pull that out next time the police pull you over," and then you don't get pulled over for the next 3 months, so you never had to show anybody, would you consider that a good example or a bad example of the use of the digital driver's license? In my mind, that's no freaking use of the. But in their mind, it was great. It worked really well. How did it work? Nobody had to use the damn thing, right? So now, based on that information, they're saying, well, it was a success, so we're going to make everybody have it.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
where we're at.
These days, all they have to do is type in your plate, which most of the time, as you're driving past, their cameras
They
scan
just
your number
scan
plate
you.
anyway.
Yeah. Yep.
But they can scan your plate, and your driver's license comes up there on their screen with your photo anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
so
don't
it's
need
already
this-
there.
Yeah. And then the new, I haven't seen any versions of it yet that anybody I know has it, but this new digital driver's license has a QR code.
Oh, geez.
So
yeah.
I'm not sure if it's the police officer has to scan the QR code or you have to do something for it to actually come up on your phone. So it's not just there on your phone for security. In case someone finds your phone, they've got your ID. So it seems to be adding more steps to the process for no reason. You know, you've got to think, well, why are they even bothering to do that? It's because it's not about that. It's so much more sinister than that.
And again, it's just extra steps. That line keeps on being pushed forward. Yeah,
totally.
And before you know it, you're just going to end up with such a domineering government, which they're out of hand and out of control already.
They're already crazy, yeah.
That they can stop you from buying groceries. You're going to go to a terminal and go, okay, I want 3 dozen bananas. Sorry, your allocation's only half a dozen this.
Oh yeah,
this
especially
week.
once Bill Gates controls the food.
Well, he already does, doesn't he? He's the
Pretty
biggest
much.
landowner, farm landowner.
What's his project? G1 or something it's called? Or is it G1 or A1? Something like that. Some new project that he's been working on for a while, which I think it's A1.
Yeah.
Agriculture 1. where all the agriculture around the world for food will be generated through one company, one organisation, which will control the food around the world.
Which he's invested in, I bet you, yeah.
Well, he's the biggest farmland owner in the world now.
These people are sinister.
Oh,
they're
mate,
evil.
They're out of control.
And they're unelected. That's
what
problem
makes it
I have.
worse. It's not like
Unelected.
anybody said, yeah, that's a great idea, go for it.
Even though
nobody wants this.
Even though our elected officials aren't doing anything either anyway.
Of course not. They're in their pockets.
Yeah. I mean, WEF is a perfect example of that. They've run rampant with, you know, they're controlling other governments in Schwab's demands, you can actually say. He's controlling on so many levels. It's crazy. Get the hell out of my life.
There's just not enough people pushing back.
That's changing. I think that's changing.
I think it is changing, but it's still not enough.
Yeah.
You know, we really need everyone to stand against these things, you know. And the problem is there's not enough people that believe it's an issue. That's the problem. They're not seeing past the safety aspect or whatever the angle is that's being pushed at the moment. They're not seeing the bigger picture. I mean, you know, it's easy to say, oh, well, I don't commit any crime. I'm not a bad person, so I don't care. Let them have what they want. Let them do what they want. But they also have your entire data history, what you look at on the internet, your purchases that you make, all these sorts of things. Next thing they're able to market to you and target you in certain ways that control your belief system. You know, we already see the censorship in YouTube. Like a great example, you should try this on your own YouTube. So go to your search history, right? Let's just say that you're very right wing, so you're constantly looking at the same videos. It becomes a bit of an echo chamber. You're always watching. Trump says this, Trump says that, or you know, you follow the liberal politicians of Australia and you stand behind what they believe and what have you. So your algorithm will pick up on that and it will feed all of that to you, and it just becomes a loop. Now, go into your history and clear your entire history, right? And then start looking at the opposition's videos, like the Joe Biden stuff, MSNBC, if you're a Joe Biden fan, follow the Labor Party if you're in Australia, and watch what happens. You get caught in another algorithm of exactly the opposite, you know, persuasion. So you can watch all the you know, Sky News stuff you like, and it'll be Trump's amazing, Trump's this, and you go into the comments section, everyone's, can't wait till he's president again, can't wait for this, can't wait for that, Joe Biden's a joke, F you, Joe Biden, blah, 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 all in the comments section, right? Now you go to those MSNBC videos and look at the comments section, it's all, how can people not stand behind Joe Biden? Joe Biden's amazing, Trump's the orange-haired demon, you know, and you see the comments section, you see where everybody ends up. The people that are following those videos. Yeah. So you get caught in that loop. Now imagine the government just decides to control all of that and tell you what they want you to hear, and you couldn't even get to that other side of the fence. You know, they just portray somebody as being, you know, let's just say they got someone like Senator Babbitt and made him out to be this horrible, villainous person. Well, you'd never vote for him. Or, you know, anyone else in Parliament. Senator Patterson, right? Senator Patterson's going head-to-head at the moment with the ADF and Border Force over immigrants, and there's a whole story to that which we can bring up in another episode. But imagine if they changed the narrative a little bit to make him look like an idiot, you know, play the bit of clown music in the background, wah, wah, wah. You know, and then you start going, oh, what a dickhead, what does he know? You start to form an opinion based on this stuff, and this is what they're feeding you. They're not going to bother feeding that to people who already agree with the narrative. That's a waste of energy. They're going to focus on the people who don't agree with the narrative and feed that crap to you. And next thing you know, you're on board with everybody else.
That's why you have that split. I've mentioned in previous episodes where we no longer talk about ideology, we talk about tribalism. And that's a sad thing, because what happens is you don't become critical anymore. Yeah. I like to think, as myself, to have a bit of critical thinking, because otherwise I'd still be a lefty. The fact that I looked at things and I started thinking, this isn't right, gave me the ability to start being critical and saying, I can't be part of this anymore. This is just not going the way. This isn't the party that I support, and hence I became a bit more conservative. Just, you know, centrist right, like I've mentioned in previous episodes. Yeah. But a lot of people just want to hear what they want to hear. Yeah. And what is it, bias reinforcement or something?
Yeah, bias reinforcement, yeah.
And that's not a good thing. It's nice to be able to, somebody came up to you, oh, you look nice tonight or today or whatever. You go, okay, thank you. And everybody comes to you and says that. Before you, at the end of the day, you're going, oh, I'm fantastic, I'm looking great.
Yeah.
But the problem is...
I know what that's like.
Modest, are we?
What can I say?
But the problem at the end of the day you look like shit, no one's going to say you look like shit, and you look like shit, you know.
And you start to slip down the hill.
Yeah, that's right. And you no longer care about anyone because everyone's told you how wonderful you are.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with, same thing with absolutely everything.
Yeah.
And specifically politics. You need to get out of that echo chamber.
Mm.
There's a great piece of software. I think it's an online piece of software. It's called Ground Effect or something. And what you do is you put in your Twitter email in there, your Twitter handle. And what it does, it calculates your interactions and it figures out your biases. And I'm lucky I can say 49% of mine is leftist. I think it's 50, I think it's about 49 as well, if I remember rightly, was right-leaning information, and 2% was independent. So I'm in the middle there, for the information I get. Because I follow a lot of people on CNN, MSNBC, Rachel Maddow, Don Lemon. He's become a total joke at the moment. Yeah. We were actually talking about his show off camera.
Yeah.
And there's more people viewing fireplaces on YouTube than they are his live shows.
Have you got the clip of that? You should try. See if we can find it later.
I'll try and find it. It's hilarious.
Yeah, funny.
Outrated by a loop of a fireplace. And so I try and get a lot of information. And, one of the things, the ability it gives me is go, this is just stupid. And when I mean stupid, I'm talking about both sides,
Oh, yeah.
There's things that happen on the right, I go, oh, my God.
Yeah.
And that latest is that Kristi Noem, I think, she's a Republican senator. Mm-hmm. She started talking about shooting her dog because he wouldn't obey her in her book. Yeah. And I thought, oh, my God, you're an idiot. And she's a Republican, and, I support... I'm mainly MAGA than I am Republican.
Did I read somewhere that she was possibly in line for VP? And now that's been canned because of that comment in the book.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Not only that, but she said she met Kim Jong... What is it? Kim Jong-un? Yeah. There's a couple of... And it never happened. There's no record of her actually meeting him. And she was actually questioned not only by, I think it was MSNBC, but she went on Fox. And she got questioned on Fox and she just didn't even answer the question. I meet a lot of, politicians, a lot of, dignitaries, and she would not answer it.
It's 2024. Yeah. You can't get away with saying that.
No, exactly. Things. The closest she got was saying, "Oh, that was an error, and we're going to omit that from the book because it hadn't been released at that stage." Yeah. I think it's only a few days from being released. So she got caught out red-handed on it, and and I look at that things and I think you're an idiot. Then you also had Santos in what was it, New York or something. And he was, fraudulently, stealing money left, right, and centre from, his constituents, and as well as his party, his funds.
Yeah, his political party.
And put him away. He actually looks funny. Some of the shit he says is funny. He dresses up in drag on weekends as well.
I didn't know that.
Because he's done a couple of those. And I look at him and I go, oh, that's, you're an idiot. Why did you do that? So I'm critical on both sides.
Yeah.
Yes, I have my biases, and I'll always admit that. I won't pretend that, 100%, 50-50, even though my Twitter says I'm 50-50, I do lean towards the right, And did we digress a bit?
Yeah, but I think, having said that, I think that's the key feature there of all of that is that you lean towards the political view or the principle or the moral that you stand behind rather than the person. And I think that's where people get a lot of this confused. Like, to stand behind a particular view, regardless of who's pushing that view or pushing against that view, that's the key here. Because if you suddenly stand behind the person that's pushing the view, when their views change,
Or
you
the
end
tribe.
up following them, and that brings you back to tribalism, as
Yeah.
you said. So you're not thinking for yourself, you're allowing that person that you
Correct.
idolise to do the
Correct.
thinking for you, and that's a lot of trust.
Yeah.
And in this day and age, you can't trust people to that degree. And there are plenty of people who change their views and their policies and their ideals halfway through. So you can't get caught up in that. You really
Yeah.
need to ignore the person and then follow the view. And if you're able to do that, then all of a sudden you can poke fun at people on both sides, because you can see past the person.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, right here in Australia, the Liberals, the Labor, they're the same to me. There's no difference between the two of them. Yeah, you do have your certain senators that, like Babbitt, you mentioned, and I forget the other one that was talking about censorships.
Yeah.
You get your outliers there. But
Yeah.
overall, to me, they're a uni party. I don't trust Labor, I don't trust Liberals, I sure as shit don't trust the Greenies. And for me, they're just government. They're all the same. Stay the hell out of my life, you know.
Yeah.
I don't want you controlling my life. I want you to make sure our transport system is working, our health system is working, but do not get involved in my private life. It's none of your business. And this is where we go into the digital ID.
Yeah, totally.
That's too much of a personal attack on my freedoms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've got to think too, like when you start bundling all these things together into one location with a digital ID, there's two big concerns. The first big concern is leakages and stolen information, access information. And as we know, the government, they can't keep much under control. The amount of things that get hacked, stolen, accessed that shouldn't be. And we want to trust them with all of our information. We barely trust the networks we have to use, like Google or places like that. You know, you wipe your history, do this, do that. A lot of people using DuckDuckGo and other platforms because they don't want that stuff recorded.
Well, DuckDuckGo isn't that crash hot either anymore.
No, but I'm just using it as an example. There's different ways. People using VPNs because they want their information protected. And yet we're expected to just hand it over to the government as if they can be trusted. Oh yeah, I can't trust the internet, but I can trust the government. You must have rocks in your head. So straight away there's that. Even if they weren't doing anything nefarious, there's the risk of hacking, and all your information is in one spot. All your eggs in one basket. Now that's a recipe for a stolen identity. Then bring in the fact that, you know, as soon as things like banks, for example, start enforcing forms of ID that are digital ID, all of a sudden driver's licenses, passports, all those things that you typically use as identification, you know, the banks are not in favour of having multiple systems. Then none of them are. So as soon as, you know, a vast majority of people are using digital ID, the simple solution for them is just to say, well, we're going to make that the rule now. So even if you think I'm never going to give in to that, and it's voluntary, it's you can take it or leave it, you're going to find yourself in situations where you have no choice. You know, wasn't the vaccine, you know, wasn't that voluntary at the start?
Well, wasn't it 2 weeks to flatten the curve?
Yeah, but what did it become? It become, even if it was up to you whether you decided to do it, there was so much pressure, not just socially, but also work environments. People couldn't go to work. It's up to you if you don't want to have the jab.
Demonised.
I was.
Demonised.
Absolutely, I was. But, you know, it's okay to say, oh, you don't have to have the jab, but don't come into this restaurant unless you have.
Correct.
It's okay not to have the jab, but don't come on this building site unless you have. How do you think this is going to go? If you don't have the digital ID, that's up to you. No one's saying you have to have it. But you won't be able to drive anywhere. You won't be able to get insurance. You won't be able to do this. You won't be able to do that. You look at the... we were talking the other day about the self-checkout registers everywhere. Now, I've got shops around me. Bunnings near me is a great example. They don't even use theirs. It's a trolley bay because nobody wants it, right? But there's a lot of places where it thrives, but the next generation of that is already here, where they're going to start eliminating the self-checkout registers, and all you have to do is put the stuff in your trolley, and it recognises that you're pushing that trolley and that you have that product in your shopping trolley, and then it just gets charged to your credit card. That's the next wave, right? So all these things are still coming, and they're trialling those things in other countries, you know. But imagine what happens when, you know, you've had, like you said, too many bananas this month. It's not going to let you buy things. You're going to have complete control. When you've got cash, you can go and buy whatever you like. but there'll be a lot of control over these sorts of things, and that's what's coming behind all
Correct,
of that.
yeah. But you also get instances where you could have insurance companies that are tracking your car movements. Now, you might, for instance, be driving down the road and all of a sudden you got a slow poke in front of you. You're already doing 100k in a 100k zone, and the dude in front of you is doing 90k. So you go to overtake him. But I decide to go, okay, I'm going to do 110 so I can get past him really quickly because it's a tight spot.
Yeah.
The insurance company picks up, oh yeah, you speed. You do that a few times, they go, oh, you speed quite a bit.
Yeah.
So it's time to raise your premium.
And your vehicle's recording all this.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, you drive down the road and Nana goes to step out on the footpath, and then she realises there's a car coming. In the meantime, you've seen her and you've hit the brakes, and then, you get the shits because she made you stop for nothing, and then you floor it. And then the next 2 days later, there's ducks walking across the road, and you think, I'm not going to kill some ducks, so you hit the brakes. And then you're stuck there, and then there's no traffic lights, there's no stop sign. You just braked in the middle of nowhere.
Correct.
All this stuff's in your history of your vehicle,
and the data's been collected.
Yeah, and then the insurance company turns around and says, "Oh, this year we're going to charge you an extra $500 premium because you seem to accelerate and brake erratically."
That's right. You're an erratic and dangerous driver.
Hey,
I just avoided running over grandma.
Yeah,
Give me a break,
If you even remember that it happened, mind
that's
you.
right, yeah.
And then look at it from another perspective, right? So I don't know how much junk food you eat. I eat a little bit. Most people do. But imagine what happens when you're insured. This has already happened with cigarettes, where people have made claims for, on their health insurance for, say, lung cancer. And then the insurance company goes back and looks through whatever records they can find. And there was a case in America a few years ago. Some people might remember this. If you remember the name of the case, please put it in the comments. But there was a case a few years ago where someone claimed on their health insurance for lung cancer, and the insurance company found a photo of them, because they said they didn't smoke. They found a photo of them from like 15 years prior that had been put up on Facebook of them holding a cigarette. And they said, that's it, we're not paying your insurance. What a crock of shit. One cigarette 15 years ago. He hasn't smoked in 15 years. No, not paying your insurance. Now imagine what happens when, we get to a certain age, we're facing diabetes, or we're facing anything else, or we're a little bit overweight, and we get unhealthy and we decide we need to claim something on insurance, and they go, well, hang on a minute. If we go back to 2024, we've got this history of you going to KFC every couple of months and McDonald's every 6 months, and you do this and you do that, and you shop at this supermarket, which is all rubbish food, as opposed to shopping at this one, which is all organic. We're not going to pay your insurance. And we end up like America, where you've got to pay for everything as you go. These things, I'm not saying they're coming, but they may well be.
I think they're coming.
I honestly believe they will be.
Yeah.
I've got no evidence to say they are. That's my point. But that's how it can be used quite easily, very, very easily. As soon as they're tracking every purchase that you make, everywhere that you go. Now, you've got your phone that's tracking you. Even if you turn off your maps, it still pings on 3 towers and knows exactly where you are. Even if you don't keep your receipts, and also you don't have a record of anything that you purchase, if it's on your card, it might not have a breakdown of what you bought at the supermarket. It just knows you paid $500. But we're only one step away from having that whole history of what you purchase. You can connect your computer and your phone to your fridge now, and your fridge can determine with a camera, yes, you have eggs. You're out and you go, did I have eggs? I can't remember. Oh yeah, there's eggs in the fridge. All that stuff can be recorded. Now, you might be sitting there thinking, well, who's going to bother with all of that? Who's going to look at all of that? That's a lot of work. Well, welcome to AI. AI can do all that stuff in a split second. It can work out an entire neighbourhood of people, what food is in their houses at any given time, how many people buy eggs in that neighbourhood, and how many people sell cakes down at the market using those eggs. It can determine anything you want it to. That's what the program's for. So we are practically there. You just got to string it all together. And you know what the common thread is to string all that together? Digital ID.
Yeah, correct. And it's like you said, it may not be used like the geofencing in that car. It's there. And 99.9% of the population don't even realise it's there, because, like you said, no one's going to read 300 pages.
Yeah.
Every time I jump into my car, because I've got voice recognition in my car and does all these whiz bang things, I have to press a button on my screen. Do I agree before my usual stuff comes up. I've never read what I'm agreeing to.
No, who does?
I just push the button because I want my radio to come on, you know.
Yeah.
That's it.
My wife, my beautiful wife, she mentioned to me only this morning that there was some company, if anyone knows, put a comment in the comments below, but there was a company that put a clause in their terms and conditions that said, if you've read this far through the terms and conditions, contact this email or this website or whatever for a $10,000 prize, and only one person ever got it. And then eventually they took it out of the terms and conditions because it was like a test to see. Yeah. And so it's only one person.
Jeez.
You know, no one reads the terms and conditions.
No.
Who's got time for that? And that's why they make the terms and conditions what they are. If you've ever actually sat and read terms and conditions and it's like 60 pages, which would bore you to tears, but if you've ever sat and read them, it could all be summarised in a page. They do this intentionally so you won't read it.
Yeah. And it works.
Oh, absolutely it works.
Even when I'm installing software, it's just yes. Because I just want the software.
Usually I'm shitting myself going, I hope this isn't a dodgy file, you know, it's going to take over my computer. But I still just go, yes. Because what are terms and conditions going to tell you? If you're worried about a virus, the terms and conditions aren't going to tell you shit.
Well, the thing is, if you say no to it, you can't install the software anyway.
So
you do not have an option.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's manipulative.
It's either agree or don't use it. Simple as that. Yeah, which is a sad case. Anyway, let's change the subject slightly. We have got the budget that's been announced this morning.
Yes, indeed. Yep.
Now, we're not going to get into it today because for us, it takes a bit of time to go through it all. So really want to try and find out as much information as we can before we can report on it. But it's they're a bit scared of it at the moment. There's apparently there's some nasty stuff in there. We briefly looked at it.
Yeah. Well, we don't want to go off half-cocked, so we'd rather sit down for a day or two and
we'll
try and get our head around it.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in our
the double speak and
the terms and conditions.
That's right. Yeah.
The terms and conditions of your tax return.
Yeah.
So we just want to make sure we're on the right page of that and we just don't go off half-cocked like you said. So that's in the next episode. But in the meantime, I reckon let's lighten the mood and talk about Trump derangement syndrome very briefly in the sense of over the weekend it was May the 4th be with you.
Yes, indeed.
Which happens every year. It's a Star Wars thing. And
if you missed it, there's the Revenge of the 6th.
That's right. Or Revenge of the 5th as well.
The 5th,
so I've seen that as well. But, you know, one of the things for me is I've become very disillusioned with the entertainment cinema. And I've talked about this in previous episodes of how much of an entertainment guy I was. I grew up watching the Oscars all the time. You know, I watch E! News from the States. Any bit of information that I could get about the entertainment world, that was for me. I would rather watch, at one stage, I'd rather watch behind the scenes of how they made the movie than the actual movie because I was so fascinated in the industry.
Especially in the sci-fi world.
Yeah, exactly. That was my thing because I'm a huge geek for those type of things. And then it all changed a few years ago, around 2014. Seems a lot happened around that time with your wokeness and that type of PC and political correctness. And then, of course, Disney bought Marvel. They bought Star Wars properties and just totally destroyed it. Yeah. They started off really well with Marvel and just killed it. But they basically destroyed Star Wars right from the start. And so there hasn't been any of their TV shows recently that I've liked. I thought, was it Obi-Wan Kenobi was rubbish. The Acolyte's about to come out. I'm not even interested in watching it. What else was there? Boba Fett. I enjoyed the first season. It was okay. It wasn't great. The Mandalorian. First season was great. Second season was okay. Third season was rubbish. And just put me right off. And especially what they did with Gina Carano. Accused of her so much when other cast members were doing exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
And she's currently suing Disney, which is going to be a very interesting case. Yeah. You heard about it?
No,
she's suing it because they specifically said to her that you were dismissed because we didn't like your comments. And you can't do that. Freedom of speech.
Yeah.
Part of the thing.
It does still exist.
So you know who's paying for a court case?
Elon Musk.
Very good. Yeah, very good. He's paying for it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter how long it takes. Elon's got a shitload of money.
Yeah.
So he'll be fine there. once he gets through with Australia as well. He's suing Australia as well. So
He's suing everybody.
He can buy bloody Australia.
I know.
Yeah. So sadly, a lot of the entertainment industry is very leftist, very progressive. And you've got people like Mark Hamill, who I think is, as a person, I think he's actually great because I follow him on X.
Yep.
And as a human being, he seems really, really nice. But he has Trump derangement system. You've also got Rob Reiner, who's another very talented director. He did Spinal Tap, he did Princess Bride, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Very talented. Probably the worst out of all of them with TDS and Stephen King as well. And Stephen King actually just put up a post the other day saying, I'm so sick of hearing about Trump when he non-stop puts up posts literally 2-3 times a day talking about Trump. Non-stop. And, you know, you go to the comments and everyone's saying, give it a rest, will you, Stephen? Just go back to writing your books, you know. Yeah. So you've got those people and a whole bunch of other people.
You haven't
as
mentioned
well.
Robert De Niro in a while.
Yeah, actually, he had just a recent interview. I should have brought this up, actually. He just did a recent interview on, I think it was the MSNBC. And he said that because he lived for 4 years under Trump, he knows what they would have felt like in Nazi Germany.
Oh, man.
What a comparison.
He's so off the mark.
That is just crazy.
So off the mark.
See, if I can somehow segue into it, I'll try and bring it up in a minute. Maybe. And Elon Musk actually responded and he goes, well, that can't be right because Trump was behind the Abraham Accords, which was bringing Abraham Accord, the Arabic states together, you know, to a point where they can have conversations. And that's something Hitler wouldn't have been behind.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, so Elon Musk is jumping there. He's the king of Twitter next to Trump. Those two really know how to use X.
Yeah.
So anyway, back onto Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill over the weekend was invited to the White House, and geez, talk about cringy. So I'm thinking we might play that, and I'll bring it up right now. And this is what he had to say when he visited the White House, and that's the press secretary in the background. And that's, again, another story.
Partisan infrastructure law, the PACT Act, the CHIPS Act, all of that, inflation, 15 million jobs. Look, it's all good. I mean, I was really thrilled to meet the entire staff because, you know, it's not just one person. It's like a composite endeavor. And all these people, my goodness, you know, I mean, I have no idea. I had no idea just what went into what is on his plate on a daily basis. So that's pretty much it. I'm open to questions, although no Star Wars questions, please. But I want to say once again how grateful I am, and it just shows you that one person can be so influential and so positive in our lives, and again, thank you so much. And Peter Baker, I loved your book. Yes.
He literally says that Biden's done a fantastic job with the economy. He's, you know, done a fantastic job, basically everything by the sound of it.
Yeah.
The guy is totally out of the loop. He has no idea what's happened to the common man.
It's typical of people with that stature.
Yeah.
He's always out of the loop.
Yeah. He mentions 15 million jobs. The reality of it, over almost 10 million, I think it was 9.7 million jobs, were jobs recovered because of the pandemic.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And the majority of the jobs that are being filled now are actually part-time jobs, not full-time jobs,
not full-time,
because they're doing second jobs because the economy is so bad. I think, what was the figure? It was like 28% increase in groceries, cars are up. What was it? The rents have gone from $1,400 a month to $2,300 a month for the same size premises. And this guy, who's so out of the loop, is saying Biden's done a fantastic job, you know.
See, he doesn't have to worry about any of those things.
No, he's already rich, you know. Yeah. He was fantastic as Han Solo. He was probably one of the greatest jokers that have ever been. Han Solo, Luke Skywalker. Boy, what a geek.
Wow, for a Star Wars nerd.
I was about to say that. Yeah, what a geek. But
I still think his best role ever was Cop Knocker. I'm going to say it every single time.
Yeah.
Every single time. Jay and Silent Bob, check it out.
Yeah.
Cock Knocker.
I watched that so long ago, I don't even remember it. And it was a cameo.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. He hasn't done a prominent movie other than voiceovers because, like I just said, he did the Joker and probably one of the best Jokers ever in animated. I think Heath Ledger's the best in the movies. A very close second would be probably 1989 Batman. Maybe him. Who was it? Oh, I forget his name now. Whatever. The old dude. Very old dude now.
I don't know.
Yeah, but he was very, very good.
I still like the TV series, so whatever. You can have all the rest of the Batmans. I just like Adam West.
Adam
West is
Adam West
legend.
actually said he was. We had the Dark Knight. He was the Colourful Knight. Sadly, he's passed away.
I've always
he
liked
looked like a great dude. Now let's quickly have a look at some of the comments here on this particular one. The very first comment, I can smell this video. And straight after that, underneath that, he's a Sith Lord now. And there's a whole bunch of memes of him at the, what is it, the pedestal? What's the thing?
The podium. Whatever.
Yeah, the podium, sorry. He's standing there and he's dressed in the a Sith Lord outfit and his eyes are glowing. Yeah. And then what else we got? He sounds impaired. What's that? We no
His
longer.
force is not with him.
Maybe this is how you get another gig in Hollywood.
Lie on the
end.
Yeah.
Things are great if you're an elite who profits off war and death, because he's been behind all the money going to Ukraine.
Yeah.
He supported all that. I think he funded a whole bunch of drones or something as well.
Oh, wow.
One stage. What a career ender. The guy just McCain'd himself. Yeah, so, here we go. What's this? If Star Wars were filmed in 2024, Luke, I am your father. And his response is, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and basically, fits in right. You get the idea. So
Yeah.
he got hammered really bad over it.
Yeah, understandable.
Yeah. And this was May the 3rd, the day before May the 4th. And the following day, he decided to release a video, and it went like this.
You know, Mark, I get to say a lot of things at that podium, but I've always wanted to say something to you.
What?
May the 4th be with you.
Oh, and remember, I'll always be forcefully yours.
Did you say forcefully?
Forcefully
That's a
yours.
bad choice of words, really, isn't it? Isn't that the RAPE word? If he's forcefully,
It's so cringy.
yeah.
Once you start down a dark path, forever we will dominate your destiny. May the fast be with you. You're good. Yeah. Meanwhile, Democrats are destroying America.
Yeah.
Oh no, totally. It's just so cringy that was. But it didn't even end there.
Such a disconnect.
Yeah. So, and the following day, he actually put up another 4-second meme. We had this big mask of Biden, and he was hiding behind it.
Yeah.
I actually had it, but for some reason,
What did he say? Joby-Wan Kenobi.
Joby-Wan Kenobi.
God.
Yeah.
That's even worse.
Because he said the day before that he had met Joby-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
Oh God, Anyway.
What's with the fish?
Well, the fish is something that interesting happened over the weekend. I think this happened. I think it was in Iran or something, one of those countries. And this is just crazy. Let's have a look at this. Absolute crazy. It's raining fish.
Hallelujah.
Let's watch it again. Have a look in the background. Right there. Just watch there. See that one fish? Yeah.
I thought that one was going to get run over. No fish were harmed in the making of this.
At first, when I saw it, I thought, this has got to be fake or something.
I
People
didn't
throwing
realise
fish.
they were fish. But it took me a minute because it was paused, and it took me a minute to realise they were fish. And I'm thinking, what are they?
Yeah.
Wow.
Apparently, what happened, they had a water spout.
Yeah.
And it's picked up all these fish.
Right.
And then when it's passed, it's dropped all the fish. Hence, what's happened
We
there.
had something happen similar in Australia a while back, didn't we?
Yeah, apparently so. I can't remember where it happened, but yeah, same thing happened.
Yeah.
And the old cliche of frogs as well. It literally happened with frogs as well.
Yeah.
So they don't grow in the sky; they just get picked up.
That we know of.
Yeah, well, exactly.
They could be the aliens everyone's been talking about.
I think it's the cloud seeding they're doing.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. Chemtrails.
Yeah. All right, so I've actually lost the last one that I wanted to do, which was that tornado.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe just give us a sec. I'll just switch over to two of us while Pinky has a quick discussion about putting him on the spot here.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well. Okay. Well. Yeah. Sorry. That was a bit. I don't know. What am I going to say?
Well, I'll tell you what we can do is first. This is the first one I came up with. This is the Don Lemon one.
Yeah.
You can't. Let me just. You can't scroll up on this one. Okay, I'll just click out of. Basically, there was.
Sorry, guys, we've got no producer here today. It's just us.
That's
so
right,
they let us in the studio, and we've just been mucking around. No producer or director, so we're just.
We're not even the usual host.
No. They're tied up downstairs.
We'll just pull off our masks.
We just snuck in and mucking around. Yeah.
But effectively, this is Don Lemon with his live show.
Is it Lemon or Lemon? Because I like to call him Don Lemon.
I'm happy to go with Lemon.
Because I think he's a bit of a lemon.
Yeah.
So even if I'm getting it wrong, I'm not changing it.
Well, on his live show, which was screening, he had 1.2 thousand people watching. The fireplace, which is a 12-hour loop, had 2.4 thousand people watching. They had twice the amount of viewers.
Isn't it? It's amazing.
Oh my God! But I'm really determined.
It's probably because that's the only fire they can afford to run in America.
Okay, I found this video. There it is. This is absolutely crazy. This it happened in Nebraska, and over the weekend.
Yep.
No, April 26th, actually, not over the weekend. But let me just play this. Pause it. Okay, let's get ready. Move it over. Okay, check this out.
Wow, that's insane. Was there anybody in there?
12 people. 12 people inside that building.
How many passed away, or how many?
The good news, none. Minor injuries. Minor injuries for that.
That's amazing.
It totally, absolutely flattened it.
That's amazing. What was it, do you know?
It was a warehouse. Apparently it was a warehouse, and the 12 people were the workers there.
Right.
So when he just passed, he just ripped everything off them.
Yeah.
And I can't believe anyone survived something like that. It's crazy. And that one's had, 5.5 million views. Amazing. I'm glad that no one was injured,
obviously.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Well, that's our show for today.
Yeah.
So
thanks for hanging around.
Sorry, guys, we didn't have a producer again, but we'll hopefully get him out of rehab soon. Yeah. And in the meantime, if you have,
I thought he was just drunk. Now it's rehab.
Well,
the poor guy. He just took a day off. Sorry, JD. We love you.
He had to go to rehab because he got locked up.
You're going to give the guy a reputation.
And he's like 93 years old too.
He's probably the oldest producer on the planet.
He's actually the grumpiest out of all of them. That's why he's not
the
on
oldest
camera.
and the grumpiest. Yeah.
Anyway, people, thank you very much for joining us for another episode. Don't forget to smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and also share the video because that's a big help. Like Pinky said earlier, make sure you check out next video. We'll be talking about the Australian budget and how it affects everybody.
Brace for impact.
Yeah, so hopefully there's some good news in there, but I'm not looking forward to it.
Yeah.
It looks like it's a few hikes there. And so, again, thank you very much for joining us, and goodbye from me.
And goodbye from him.
I